Good afternoon. I am Cameron Walker Miller, the Associate Director of Standards and Technology for the Security Industry Association. Welcome to our Return on Security webinar series. Each event demonstrates security solutions that provide value to the entire enterprise, which also showcases examples of features which can be used to achieve budget buy-in from non-traditional business units. Today, we will hear from Iron Young USA and their president, Paul Sun, who will present an exploration of artificial intelligence analytics applications, tongue twister, in this era of pandemic, plus much more. There is a question feature at the bottom of your screen, and we will have a brief Q&A at the end of the event, so feel free to ask any questions. Let us get started. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Sun.
Well, thank you, Cameron, for the introduction, and thank you for hosting the SIA event. We're really excited and pleased to share with the audience, the team, as to the recent development with artificial intelligence applications and for the pandemic and also for security and safety industry in general. With me today is Douglas Hammer, our head of marketing, and he will be leading us through the presentation, and we'll follow with the presentation with a live product demo and show you some of the advancement in AI application. With that, I'll hand it over to Doug.
Thank you very much, Paul. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. Thanks for joining us today, everyone. AI applications in the pandemic and beyond. Our agenda for today, quick definition of AI, traditional AI applications in the security space, and then a quick exploration of AI applications beyond security. And beyond those applications, we're going to talk about and explore a little bit around AI platforms. And then I'll turn it back over to Paul for a quick demo of the Vaidio Intelligence platform. And there is Q&A encouraged throughout this presentation through the chat and the question feature with Cam. But we'll also leave time at the end for any additional questions. So we will get right to it. AI, simply defined, is the ability of machines to perform cognitive functions like those performed by the human mind. AI is a transformative technological leap forward, not only for the security space, but for society as a whole. The difference is with AI, before, computers were programmed to execute rigidly defined tasks. With AI, computers are given a generalized strategy which enables them to learn and adapt to new data, in our case, visual images, without specific new programming. SIA's position is that China is investing extremely heavily in AI. In fact, in 2017, the Chinese government committed to being the worldwide leader in AI by 2030, which is in just 9 years at this point. And SIA believes that US government and industry should deepen their partnership and investment to enable breakthrough innovations. And this is something that Iron Young USA is extremely proud of as a US-based company, to be at the forefront of AI and the development of an established, evolved AI analytics platform. It's a source of pride for us as we broaden the market in the US and around the world. Traditional applications, everyone on the call should be fairly familiar with this. Facial recognition, match a face from a digital image, or match a face to a digital image or video frame as a defined object with or without a database, mainly used in access control, law enforcement, and security. And LPR is similar, recognizing plate numbers from images or video for access control, law enforcement, stolen vehicle checks, toll collection, traffic and parking management. Cam, when we were talking before, you noted that you thought there might be some question or interest specifically around this slide. Is there something you wanted me to delve into here?
Yeah, if you could talk more about some of these things that may be beyond traditional security uses and tools. Like when you develop applications, can you talk about that? Developing new applications here for
we will, as a matter of fact, we'll get into that. I did want to note that the context of facial recognition specifically, there is some concern, certainly around privacy, around governmental regulation, and law enforcement's use of facial recognition. As you'll see as I go along into those new applications, Iron Young's motto as a company, our mission is analytics for a better world. And we apply some of these technologies, specifically facial recognition and license plate recognition, in applications that go beyond security and that enable a more secure and safer world as a whole. So I want to dovetail some of those concerns around some of these new applications to show how these technologies can benefit society and your community, as well as
considering privacy.
Considering privacy as well. So it's a perfect setup. So these traditional applications, they're widely known and recognized. I just want to illustrate what's beyond security by showing an actual screenshot of the 30 requirements from a recent RFP that we received. So you talk about crowd counting and real-time alerting to customers via a phone app. So it's not just a web application, but applications for mobile and handheld devices as well, smartphones, counting customers getting onto and off a train, cumulative ridership data, object left behind video analytics. So you're counting customers on and off a train, whether or not they're leaving their bags on and off the train. And you have to have GDPR privacy protections built into this system. So you'll see here, they are asking for support for license plate recognition and facial recognition. But in the context of the RFP, they also want the system to address those privacy concerns. But beyond that, if you take a look at 20 through 30, illegal parking, weapons detection, smoke and fire detection, heat map and statistics, and then body temperature measurement and social distancing measurement, and no face mask detection. So all of a sudden, you've got standard security applications combined with privacy considerations, COVID-19 health screening applications, and specialized applications like weapons and smoke and fire. And you're wondering, oh my God, how is a single platform or a single solution going to be able to cover all of this? So trying to simplify that down a little bit, trying to group this a little bit. So these are the advanced applications beyond security. So we've got people, vehicle, and object counting, all sorts of applications within that box, including object left behind, for example. Social health screening, we've identified 4: temperature, social distancing detection, occupancy detection, and detecting whether people are or are not wearing face masks. Weapon detection, self-explanatory. Smoke and fire detection. This could be either out in the wilderness to have cameras give early fire warnings, or it could be within a facility to determine whether there's a smoke or a fire fault, on a piece of equipment. Vehicle make and model detection, also self-explanatory. Personal protective equipment detection. This is safety hats, gloves, safety vests, lab goggles, nurses or doctors' aprons or uniforms, specific uniforms, even extending out to taking AI and giving it the ability to read equipment gauges, LED readouts, detect leakage for equipment. So again, the application of AI to video analytics is very rapidly going well beyond the standard security applications, but it all kind of revolves around security, safety, and health. And the space is getting very crowded. IPVM is one analyst and organization that monitors this space. They've identified in their current directory, they've got over 150 video analytics suppliers alone. Many of them are new. Most of them are focused, targeted, or limited to a single type of legacy or AI analytic. The AI is often new and limited in scope and evolution, and that limits their accuracy. Whereas established players in the market have evolved analytics engines over time. AI grows smarter over time. The more data AI is exposed to, the smarter it gets. When you have an AI analytic that has been able to evolve over time, that increases accuracy. We actually have a case study. We have a legacy perimeter security application. They have 200 cameras, and the legacy application was delivering 10 to 20 false alarms per day per camera. The Vaidio Video Intelligence platform was put in, same 200 cameras, but those false alarms are reduced to 1 to 9 false alarms per month total. So if you boil all of that down across 200 cameras around a perimeter, the legacy application was generating roughly 2,000 false alarms per month. The Vaidio Video Intelligence platform reduced that down to 5. That's what an evolved AI analytics can do for you in terms of increasing accuracy in a security application. So what do I mean by evolved AI platform as opposed to an analytics engine? So an analytics engine is specific, it's tailored, it's designed to detect a face, it's designed to detect an object coming into a camera's field of view for intrusion detection. It's designed to open a gate if it recognizes the right license plate. So accuracy comes from those engines being evolved over time to grow more and more accurate and reduce false positives. But a platform provides broad functionality beyond security, again, to cover safety, health, operations, personal protective equipment, social health screening, et cetera, et cetera. And the ability to orchestrate across or search across multiple AI engines simultaneously. This means that you can search for a man wearing a red sweatshirt, carrying a black backpack in a white BMW SUV. And it's the ability to bring all of those different analytics engines to bear on a single search that's one of the key elements of a true evolved AI platform, searching simultaneously across multiple AI engines and federating that search so that it's really simple to generate a target result. In addition, an evolved AI platform should be able to integrate openly with all IP cameras and market-leading video management systems. Most of the broader platforms in the market are limited in their integration, or in fact kind of proprietary, that operate only with a subset of cameras and video management systems. In terms of flexibility, this means that the platform can be deployed in a standard way as a server-based or appliance-based deployment, or deployed in the cloud or as a service. So it's the flexibility to deploy the way the customer needs dictate. And then in terms of innovation, the ability to develop new and accurate AI applications literally within weeks. So it's not just the platform and the AI engines, but as we've seen, there are multitudes of new applications for AI. And go ahead.
There's a quick question someone asked as far as innovation, developing applications with AI within weeks. Could someone, for example, find a lost item on public transportation? Would you be able to create some sort of application to do that specific thing for some specific entity?
Yeah, well, that's a great example. So our platform currently has what we call lost object analytics. And right now we have 35 objects, but let's say it's an object, it's a specific type of object that we don't have in the engine. We could train up our existing engine's ability to recognize a new object
within weeks. That's
literally within weeks with the right amount of data. And because it's on an established platform within a current engine, that development would actually be very rapid, and it would be accurate right out of the gate. But even if we didn't have an existing engine, let's say somebody wanted us to develop the capability to read a temperature gauge on an old piece of equipment that doesn't have Wi-Fi capability to alert you when it's overheating, for example. We could train on that specific gauge for equipment safety, which would, and if you have that analytic placed on an existing camera, because if it works with all IP cameras, you've got a camera in that manufacturing facility. It's a matter of developing an engine and then incorporating it into the existing platform. So having the existing platform allows the broad functionality, and it allows that rapid innovation. So the sky really is the limit at this point. Our platform, at least, is so evolved and so broad in terms of what it can spot and analyze and understand in an artificial intelligence way. There are new applications coming out all the time. So, for example, if you go back to this actual RFP, yeah, you know what? This RFP came right as we were developing our social distancing detection. So if we wanted to apply that social distancing, part of social distancing is the ability to count crowds within a defined space. So the application of that analytic of counting a crowd on a platform, counting crowds in cars, counting customers getting onto and off a train, that's a traffic or parking management or counting application that we could rapidly develop and deploy as part of meeting the requirements for this RFP. So if your customers or end users have an application that's not covered here, an established platform like ours pretty much gives you the ability to sell and know that you're going to be able to deliver any functionality that is not currently offered by the platform within a matter of weeks or months as part of the solution cell. Having the established platform gives you a leg up, in other words, in terms of meeting RFP requirements that haven't been yet developed. Does that answer your question?
It looks like it did, yeah.
Okay, good. So this is an actual representation of what the platform looks like today. And again, what makes the platform is the ability to orchestrate and search across all these different analytics and combine them into a single search, and then integrate at various levels with market-leading video management systems. So you talked again about different newer applications. Construction, it's a relatively new analytic for us to spot safety hard hats and safety vests. We're able to track for one of our hospital clients whether a wheelchair is leaving campus or not, or whether it's staying safe. We have a big box retailer specifically working on theft deterrence in a retail environment. And of course, smoke and fire, to offer smoke and fire and weapons detection in addition to, or to complement the ability to accurately identify 200 vehicle makes and 2,000 vehicle models, as well as doing facial recognition, license plate recognition. And this entire, to bring it back into our pandemic context, the ability to detect people, whether they're wearing face masks or not, to detect social distancing within a defined space or within an entire facility, as well as to bring occupancy measurements and occupancy tracking within that same defined space or facility, and to do temperature detection with a visual thermal camera. And we actually have a case study on that. So this is the guts of the platform are this stuff in the middle, orchestrating across multiple engines, presenting everything through a single interface, automated alerts and reporting, integration with all cameras and third-party video management systems. It's an open video intelligence platform with extremely broad functionality for security and beyond. And a quick case study here. There is an auto manufacturing plant in the Southeast, and they have roughly 2,000 plant workers per shift, and they have 2 shifts, I believe it's 2 shifts per day. And when COVID happened, they were manually screening those 2,000 workers when they were coming into the plant with a forehead thermometer. And they had, I think they had a couple of employees with 2 handheld thermal thermometers. It was taking about an hour, hour and a half for those 2,000 employees just to get into the plant. We put the Vaidio video intelligence platform in. Those 2,000 workers are now able to enter the plant at normal walking speed, just as they did before the pandemic. The system has a combination of a standard IP video camera and a thermal camera, and those cameras together feed data to the platform, and the platform analyzes faces, face masks, and temperature simultaneously without these people having to stop or look at the camera. Normal walking speed, eliminating the need for the manual overhead, completely eliminating the bottleneck, so that those factory workers enter the factory now as normal, without having to stop, and so that 90-minute bottleneck was completely eliminated with this fast and accurate pre-entry thermal screening with the Vaidio platform. But it requires the ability to integrate facial recognition, object recognition with face masks, and temperature recognition specifically for the forehead. So that's a success story in production right now, and that's a frame from a production environment. And so this is just a quick illustration of what our platform integrates with pretty much all market-leading video management systems, as well as additional access control systems. And there are different levels of integration. Some of it is just passing data back and forth so we can send alerts to those systems. In other cases, we can actually enable search of the video analytics search engine from within the interface of the VMS. Last but not least, ISC West recognized the Iron Yun Vaidio Video Intelligence Platform for their commercial monitoring solutions category award winner in the 2020 New Products Showcase. And the comment here is, it's this type of innovation and drive to succeed that advances the security industry and contributes to the safety and security of our world. Back to my comments at the beginning, this is our mission as a US-based company to push the boundaries of technology, functionality, and accuracy, and really take these technologies and use them for the benefit of society. At this point, I'd like to turn it over. I'll stop my screen share, and I'll turn it over to Paul. Paul, are you ready to do a Vaidio demo?
Yes, I am.
Excellent.
All right. Okay, thank you, Doc, for the overview of advanced AI video analytics platform. So let me give the audience here a live demonstration. So can you see my screen? It should show Vaidio, a search.
You see it, Paul.
Okay, excellent. So let me take you through to a live system. This is actually a live system that runs over 15 different analytics in a single software platform framework, as Doug was alluded to. So from all kind of object search to face search recognition, license plate, people counting, vehicle counting, intrusion, and many different types of abnormal events, not just on object, a person with a backpack, or a situation with lost and found, to weapons detection, active shooter, to smoke and fire. So this is what is typically referred to as the next generation multi-modal AI video analytics platform. So a typical search would, for example, this is actually a live system with over a dozen public available surveillance camera, and also private, some of our corporations' private cameras. For example, I want to give you a rough flavor as to what we're looking at. Here's a Chicago Cubs Wrigley Field baseball stadium camera. Here's one in London at Abbey Road. Here's one in the French Quarter in New Orleans, in a New York Times Square camera. So a typical frequently a search item is vehicles. You can search for all sorts of types of vehicle by type, bicycle to trucks. So let's say a typical search for a four-door sedan type application. So this is what we refer to as a Google search capability. Just like how Google is being used to search for text, we apply the same high-level concept to video, searching through massive amount of big data video. So if you look at this particular search result, it's today we started searching from 00 hours, so at midnight, to about 1:30 p.m. now on the East Coast here. So you're looking at over 13 hours of video across over 10 cameras, of over 130 hours of video. The search went through it in near real time in 5.1 seconds and returned 181,000 instances. Every one of these scenarios has an object of a vehicle type that's identified. As can be seen, this is actually a live, this is actually a camera that's pointing at the Times Square in New York City on 47th Street here. And here's a camera in London. We're pulling this camera streams directly from those camera shots. So similar to how we apply filterings to filter down the results that we want to look at. So for example, now I want to search for not just any car. I want to search for a very specific type of vehicle, that's BMW, let's call it BMW. And so instead of looking through 181,000, now in less than 2 seconds, 1.5 seconds, we filtered down to 821 BMW only vehicles. As you can see, the search through BMW, and continue to finding that particular object of interest. We can also specify models. So of a BMW, let's say it's a SUV type vehicle. So it can be an X5 as an example. So instead of going through 821 BMWs that today on those cameras that it identified, now it's in about 1.2 seconds, you're down to only BMW SUV type vehicles. Okay, so keep going down. So let's say that there's a frequently happen is especially in public security law enforcement type application, hit and run incidents. Somebody calling to 911. That's a partial plate number 118. That's a Nissan as an example, and a Pathfinder brand. So this system has over 2,000 vehicle make model that the AI can recognize. So among that 181,000 instances today on those camera, there's only one that matches that description. That's a Nissan Pathfinder with a partial plate number 118. So these are the kind of capability that we can do with AI that can really help in the security and safety application. On the safety side, COVID application frequently run into is a person without a face mask that walk into a public building or a stadium or schools, or where you would identify a person that does not wear face mask or face mask enforcement. And just to show you that this is indeed, it will do both face mask and no face mask. Now I'll search to identify a person with face mask. Okay.
Hey, Paul, one thing I want to mention here is that one of the other distinguishing characteristics of a platform that I probably should have put on the slide is the ability to adapt to future use. So if you deploy solutions for face mask detection or temperature detection today, and then eventually, as we all hope, we get to a post-pandemic world, the platform gives you the ability to switch over to a facial recognition-based access control system. So you can use the same platform, just turn on different analytics so that your investment in this platform is future-proofed. In other words, if you buy it for social health analytics today, like face mask or temperature detection, in the future, you would still be able to use the platform. You could just switch over to using analytics for different security, safety, or health functions.
Very, very good point, Doug. So that is really a powerful feature in terms of decoupling hardware from a software platform. So we can operate this software platform on any type of standard-based ONIC camera and computer server that give users really the maximum flexibility on future-proofing the system. So as Doug was saying, so you may want to use this in the future for searching out for other type of safety, not just on a pandemic. So let's say that you deploy this for smoke and fire detection. So now we have a particular video clip that's a fire scenario, testing scenario. Now it will trigger on when there's an event of a fire being detected, and you notice that the AI system is not based on motion, it's not pixel based, it's literally understanding the context of that particular video. In this case, it's for fire detection. And if it's for active shooter in the US type application, so you can search for a handgun as an example. So this is, again, it's a training video at one of our offices, partners' offices, where there's a handgun being detected using standard commercial video cameras. So any of those objects can be mixed and matched. So you can search for example, there's a question from the audience, can you use this to search for a particular type objects? Yes, let's say lost and find. I want to search for a person with a backpack that makes it a little bit more complicated on a bicycle, and with at least 2 persons detected in the scene. So I can do counting of objects also. So this is searching live across that all those camera systems. And let's take a look at one of these events. So you see a person with a backpack and a bicycle. So it's not just about the safety, security. There's all kind of other applications for municipalities. With, for example, there's a park that can be limited to a pedestrian only, not for dogs. So let's say if I want to search for a person with a dog, let's see what we can find. And you actually will see that people do walk their dogs in Times Square. So those are the kind of capabilities now that AI really enables. So as the dog was saying that earlier, what you can do with this is quite powerful in terms of the extension capability to address many different type of applications. Okay, so with that, I'm going to stop for any question and answers.
One quick question, Paul. There was a question regarding storage and how a system like this is stored, which is stored in, and the data. How is the data managed?
So a typical system on the AI analytics is it can be run in conjunction or in parallel to an existing video management system. So so the metadata that's triggered, for example, a particular object being identified, it will be stored as a metadata in most systems, including the platform that you're seeing. So it will be stored on its own storage server. Hope that answers the question.
Sounds good to me. One other question, computer processing with speeds and hardware that is being used in AI and it demands a lot of power. Can you provide any ideas of solving those limitations?
Yes, good question. In terms of the computing hardware platform, the hardware guys industry is working fast and furious in terms of introducing more powerful, advanced GPUs. Typically, it's referred to a graphical processing unit instead of central processing unit that a lot of the AI video do require. And if you look at the innovation that coming out from industry leaders like NVIDIA or Intel, they're definitely on a path following the Moore's law in terms of doubling in hardware computing speed performance every 18 months. And that's what we've been seeing. So it is definitely something that you need to consider, especially if you do a large scale deployment. The computing horsepower do need to match the software requirements.
And I'll just add a couple of color commentaries on both of those questions. The short answer is the video is generally stored on the VMS system or something else, and we store analytics data and metadata from our analytics on our portion of the storage. You can store all the video in our platform, but generally speaking, we analyze live video or stored video, and the video itself is stored somewhere else, and we're storing metadata in the database. And shoot, the second question was computing power. There are a lot of solutions out there that offer some kind of AI video analytics on the camera itself. The difference is that if it's on camera, the computing power is going to be limited. And when computing power is limited, generally speaking, accuracy is limited. So when you buy a platform-based AI analytics solution, you're going to be taking advantage of AI on CPU and GPU that's way more powerful than anything that you can get on camera-based analytics. So for accuracy and broad functionality, a platform-based solution is going to be superior to a camera-based solution.
One other question about system compatibility. Linnell is one of the systems that someone asked about there being compatibility to working with their NVRs. And if not, to expand on that, is the system open? Is it an open platform?
Let me take that question. Yes, so there is open published API, and either directly through a function API call or through a REST web-based API, and it can interface to many third-party VMS system, including Linnell.
One more question about brands. There's a question about computing power with the camera, and there was a slide where you guys mentioned it was brand agnostic. Is that the case for best practices? They want to know about Axis or Hanwha cameras, if they are the best cameras, or if you recommend a specific brand.
Yeah, so there's there's a lot of innovation in the camera hardware side. So we don't specifically recommend a particular type. We are mostly focused on the innovation on the AI software side, and there are many good camera solution providers, including what's been mentioned on Hanwha and Axis, and we definitely work. Our system will seamlessly with those platforms, those camera platforms.
Yeah, I can add a little bit detail on that. What we say is that we work with 97% of IP on VIF compliant video cameras. It could be up to 99%. There are some cameras that we don't work with, but it's really unlikely that you would find a camera that we don't work with if it's IP on VIF compliant. On the thermal camera side, our solution right now is specifically works with a GaNs thermal camera that is made in USA, BAA compliant.
Another part of that question, is there recommended processing speeds for any of those specific cameras?
So maybe let me take that question. So the hardware requirement, processing hardware required is primarily scales with the number of cameras as one dimension. The second part of it is the number of analytics that you will run on it. So a typical scenario would be there's a calculator that we can provide, and you just input the number of cameras and the type of analytics you need, and the calculator will provide and recommended hardware specification. Okay.
Yeah, I think there's also might be some dependency in terms of resolution, but other than that, it's not really the processing speed, and the hardware requirements are more dependent on the number of analytics and the number of cameras rather than on the type of camera.
Okay, I think we have one more question that we have time for. Can the system be on-prem and not cloud-based?
Yes, the software that I just gave a demo is actually one of the few fully Docker containerized software platforms. So that means that it can be run 100% on-prem without internet, or it can be in the public cloud, or anything in between, a hybrid cloud, private cloud combination. So it's a very flexible and scalable solution.
Excellent.
Okay. Maybe we have time for one more question.
Okay,
Last one.
Yeah, there's one last question. Can you please, there's someone who asked, can you please send more information on software in the video shown from an individual? You can contact them at info@ironyoung.com and they'll be able to get back to you. But one question is, how long is that data stored?
The time period for the stored metadata is entirely user definable. So if you have a company policy of 30 days, so as long as you have enough hard drive storage, that's what you specify for.
Great. So I think that does it. Thank you all for participating and joining our webinar, Return on Security, Iron Young. If you have any more questions about the product, you can email Iron Young at info@ironyoung.com. Have a great day.
Thank you.